Hello, in this video I am going to walk you through writing your second body paragraph. Items that you're going to need before we get started include a digital copy of your short story. You're going to need your literary analysis pre-writing document, and then of course you're going to need your Google document entitled Unit 1 Lit Analysis Essay underscore your name. This will be the document that you downloaded previously and have already typed your first body paragraph in. Make sure that after that first body paragraph, you just go ahead, hit enter or return, and then begin by indenting. So just like we've done last time, we're going to follow that same perfect paragraph structure that we've learned in class. And we know that that structure begins with a strong topic sentence. A topic sentence is, of course, a topic, which is going to be a second literary device or narrative choice that you've identified from your story, plus a main idea, which is your unique observation about what that device or that choice adds to your overall story. Do make sure that this second device that you are identifying is really different from your first one, right? And that it has a significant impact on your story overall, that it's not just somewhat present, but it really makes a big impact on that story. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at our model topic sentence. We begin with a transition phrase that tells us that this is our second main idea for our essay. Secondly, Richard Connell utilizes rich indirect characterization in order to slowly reveal the character of Zaroff as a murderous madman. So you can tell that in addition to our transition word, we have a clear topic, which is indirect characterization, and we have a main idea. It slowly reveals the character of Zaroff as this very interesting, but obviously murderous madman. Let's go ahead and pause your video now, and I want you to use the help text that you see here in order to help you structure your own topic sentence. All right, so now that we have our topic sentence written, now we know that we're going to move into the part of our paragraph in which we are proving this statement or this observation to be true. Just like we've done last time, we need to select a strong piece of text evidence. Just like great chefs, we need to be picky about that text evidence as well. So as you begin looking for the text evidence that you are going to use to support this topic sentence, you want to make sure that you are giving yourself some choices to pick from. So maybe look at 2 or maybe even 3 quotes that could work. And then you want to select the best quote to prove your point. Make sure that you are keeping in mind the advice you've been given about quotes, which is that shorter quotes tend to be a little bit stronger than longer quotes. And then last but not least, when possible, we want to avoid dialogue, which is back and forth conversation between 2 characters. We want to really stick to either one character talking, some strong description, or maybe some narration. All right, you may go ahead and pause your video while you are looking for that text evidence. And when you're ready to begin integrating that into your paragraph, you can go ahead and press play again. All right, so we've found our text evidence that we are going to use in support of our topic sentence. So now what we need to do is we need to write a sentence that provides some context or some setup. All right, remember this is the sentence that answers the question, who, where, and what is going on in this scene. So let's look at our model sentence. This is evident in the dinner scene in which Rainsford becomes more acquainted with his loquacious new host. All right, so here I am. I'm setting up my text evidence, providing exactly when in the story this quote is going to come from and who is involved. Let's go ahead and pause our video, utilize the help text that you see here on the screen in order to help you structure your own context or setup sentence now. Okay, so now we have provided a little bit of context, and it's time to insert our quote sandwich. Remember, we never begin a sentence with a quote. So we need to start first with a lead-in to our quote, which is a brief little phrase that indicates who is speaking and how often they are saying that. We also want to make sure that after our quotation, we are providing an MLA in-text citation. Sometimes we call this a parenthetical citation because it appears in parentheses. All right, let's take a look at our model text, and then let's look at some of the options we have from our help text menu here on the right of the screen. Our model reads, the narrator reveals he was finding the general a most thoughtful and affable host, a true cosmopolite. But there was one small trait of the general's that made Rainsford uncomfortable. Whenever he looked up from his plate, he found the general studying him, appraising him narrowly. Connell 6. All right, so a few things to note. We've got our lead in here, the narrator reveals, comma. Then we have our quotation, and then at the end you can see that we have our quotation marks, our closing quotation marks at the end of our text evidence. Then we have our parentheses, author's last name, page, closing parentheses, and that period always goes outside. It must be in that pattern in order to be correct. So we have lots of different options that we can choose from here. Now remember, you're only going to pick one, or you're going to modify one of these to better suit your needs. All right? Whether you're choosing the author writes, comma, the narrator reveals that, the setting itself embodies danger, whatever it may be. You want to make sure that you are using proper punctuation and that you are effectively leading in to that quote. Go ahead and pause your video now so that you can write your evidence sentence. All right, now last but not least, we need to explain. These are two of the most important sentences in our paragraph. They should answer the questions what this quote means or shows, and then how this quote proves your topic sentence to be true. Now remember, for our model, we were trying to show that the author, Richard Connell, uses indirect characterization to really slowly unfold how terrifying and creepy General Zaroff is. So now we need to explain how that bit of evidence that we just chose proves that. Our model reads, in this passage, Zaroff's strange behavior and Rainsford's unsettling reaction to it pique the reader's attention and curiosity. While there's nothing overtly threatening about this staring, Connell plants a seed in the reader's mind that this man is not to be trusted. So here again, we are explaining specifically how that particular piece of text evidence it qualifies as indirect characterization. And then we talk about its impact on the reader, right? It's almost serving as a bit of foreshadowing because it's helping us to maybe gather some negative feelings or some curiosity into who Zaroff really is. Now, here on the right, we have, again, multiple pieces of help text that you may use in the formation of your explanation sentences. This example of blank reveals blank. This passage shows or emphasizes or demonstrates. And then maybe you want to switch it over to this is significant because, or this proves that, to really tie back to that topic sentence of yours. Go ahead and pause your video now and work on those two explanation sentences. Wonderful. If you have made it this far in the video, that means you should have a fully formed body paragraph number 2 draft. What we want to do is we want to review our model, and then we want to compare our own work to this model in order to perform sort of a self-check to make sure that we have all of the necessary components of a strong literary analysis paragraph. Our model reads, secondly, Richard Connell utilizes rich indirect characterization in order to slowly reveal the character of Zeroff as a murderous madman. This is evident in the dinner scene in which Rainsford becomes more acquainted with his loquacious new host. The narrator reveals he was finding the general a most thoughtful and affable host, a true cosmopolite, but there was one small trait of the general's that made Rainsford uncomfortable. Whenever he looked up from his plate, he found the general studying him, appraising him narrowly. In this passage, Zeroff's strange behavior and Rainsford's unsettling reaction to it pique the reader's attention and curiosity. While there is nothing overtly threatening about this staring, Connell plants a seed in the reader's mind that this man is not to be trusted. So as we move through our self-check questions, we can definitely say that this model paragraph has a clear focus around a single literary choice, in our case, indirect characterization. We do provide clear context that sets up our evidence. The evidence does directly support our topic sentence. The evidence that we've selected is a really, really strong one, right? So we can say confidently that this is maybe the best evidence to be found. And then we want to make sure that we've effectively explained how our evidence supports that topic sentence. In this case, we've done that as well. Now, last but not least, we always want to ask ourselves, does your paragraph require more evidence to prove your point? Well, in this particular case, because we're talking about the development of a whole character, I would definitely say this paragraph needs a little bit more. This is a paragraph in which it would really benefit from doubling that recipe. So as you can see here in bold, we've actually just gone back and we've added another bit of context, another piece of text evidence, and another bit of explanation. Notice how in this particular example, I've actually combined my context and my setup sentence with my lead-in. It reads, as the conversation progresses, Zeroff's true intentions are revealed. The weak of the world were put here to give the strong pleasure. I am strong. I hunt the scum of the earth. A thoroughbred horse or hound is worth more than a score of them. Through his words, Connell reveals Zeroff not only as a cold-blooded killer, but as a dangerous man with no regard for human life. So again, I have really, really strengthened my paragraph by adding another bit of text evidence and explanation that just extends that analysis just a little bit more. All right, make sure that you have done the same self-check against your own work before moving on to your third body paragraph.